Vikings and Green Bay. Jordan Love is back, but can they stop the train that is Sam Darnold and the Vikings?
Speaking about trains moving, Derrick Henry sure kept chugging along against the Buffalo Bills. But could this one hold a little less drama for the Ravens as they finish it off as opposed to how that last one went in Dallas?
Eagles and Buccaneers. Eagles have a lot of injuries, but can Jalen Hurts survive the blitz that is the Tampa defense?
Another week, another survival for the Kansas City Chiefs as they move to 4-0 and lose another precious target. But hey, Travis Kelsey's back. Is that enough to make us be a little more positive on Kansas City?
That and a whole lot more on this interesting and head scratching week 4 edition of Sunday Scaries with Bucks McGee.
Welcome back in. In case you're wondering, Nutmeg, what's with the wardrobe change? Well, before we get into all the nitty gritty of the NFL, we do want to make a very special statement about the aftermath of Hurricane Helene ripping through my neck of the woods, Greenville. And I kind of, there's some damage down here, but I kind of figure, I kind of think we kind of got off the light side compared to our neighbors to the north in Asheville. There's a lot of damage up there. Some parts of towns uh, halfway, if not all the way underwater, and a lot of businesses destroyed. So we definitely want to make note of those people struggling up there and speak out our support to the lives lost. And hopefully that city can get its economy and businesses and community going again in short order.
Definitely. If there's anything you guys can do, any kind of charities, reach out. Being from Florida, these hurricanes are, pretty much commonplace, but the severities are so insane. So when something like this happens and it hits places that don't necessarily are used to this, it's devastating. So anything you guys can do, definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And normally the hurricanes come up and hit the coast and they die off before they get up here. So it wasn't necessarily the storm was unexpected, but the damage certainly was so.
Mother Nature, she's a fickle one.
Yeah. Well, we do have some games to discuss, and the first two we'll talk these games going on right now. Seattle and the Lions. Normally, when these two teams come to play with each other, you just take the over. I
Yeah.
think the lowest they've combined for in the last 3 years is 68 points. They've topped 80, they've topped 90 before. So I mean, it's not a game. It's not a matchup for the faint of heart, at least as far as points go. But so far in the first half, it's pretty one sided. It's funny enough because verifiably no ground game for the Seahawks. Kenny Walker's kind of been in and out. Charbonnet's been more of a pass option. And
Mhm.
then for the Lions, almost all run games so far. Gibbs 2 touchdowns, Montgomery the other one. Goff's kind of picking it apart. I mean, Sam Laporta's made an appearance at least finally.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, there you are, Sam.
Welcome back.
Jesus. Oh man. It just seems like Seattle's kind of shooting themselves in the foot. There've been some penalties and things of that nature. It wouldn't surprise me that the second half they kind of figure things out and they end up coming back and making this a little more interesting than what it is right now. It's 21-7, but it doesn't feel like a comfortable 21-7.
No, yeah, it doesn't really, despite the fact that whether by accident or design, the Lions are doing well against the run, it doesn't feel like the Seahawks are struggling to move the ball at all.
No, it's like they're moving the ball, but there's fumbles and it just seems like they're just out of sorts. So I think the second half will probably be a little more indicative of what this matchup usually is.
Beware the DK hammer.
That's it. Be careful, man. He almost scored in the first half as it was. The guy's a beast, man. Guy's a beast.
Yeah. And well, at least that one's been entertaining. I can't say so much for the other Monday Night Football game.
There's no reason to talk about that game, okay? It's a baseball score. Let's move on. Was it 6-3? It's still 6-3, right?
9-6 now. Actually.
Oh, 9-6, man. It sounds
So
like a Mets Braves score. All right, we're good.
Yeah. But there is one storyline to pull out of that. Granted, with all the injuries, there's not a lot of players, and Will Levis just couldn't help adding one more injury to the pile. And he adds to already a growing list this year of quarterbacks that just cannot figure out how to slide.
I don't know if if quarterbacks, want to be Josh Allen and think, if they're over 6 foot, they can drop, their shoulder and, run guys over. It's not college. Like, you guys have got to figure out, the NFL guys are bigger, stronger, faster. Slide, save your life, really. So now, Mason Rudolph could be the guy, because let's be honest, during this game, Mason Rudolph was moving them a lot better than Will Levis. Let's be honest.
Clark Kent returns.
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is what they need. But it's Tennessee, and who knows what they're going to do. But Levis, if he's out, it's going to be interesting to see what Tennessee really does with the quarterback position.
Yeah, that's just it's like you said, it's the NFL. Guys are bigger, stronger. When you're running and someone lands on you, not only are you gonna feel it, but you're probably gonna get injured. So just learn how to slide. Why just don't dive? Don't dive like that.
It's ridiculous, but these guys unfortunately learn the hard way. And like you said, it's usually the younger guys. The older guys know a lot better. They're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna drop. Live to play another down. Unfortunately, these guys want to be heroes and be highlight and Madden stars, and you end up on the IR for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. What's the new IR, the mandatory 4 weeks minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the action from Sunday. Vikings. I kind of figured that the Packers would give them a little bit of a fight, but I didn't necessarily know if Jordan Love was going to be fully there. He definitely was a little rusty. I mean, he put up on the stat sheet what looks like an impressive performance, but a lot of that was probably just prevent and garbage time. The Vikings got out to what, a 21-0 lead, 28-7, 28-3, whatever it was. Sorry, not that I don't need to bring up 28-3. I know that's a fond memory in your heart. Whatever the original score was. So I mean, yeah, the final looks a lot closer than it was, but I mean, the Vikings really made a statement in this one. Jordan Love healthy or not, or rusty or not, like we're gonna come out and take it to you. This is our division now.
Sam Darnold is I guess we're at the quarter section of the season. I guess he's the real deal. A lot of people are waiting for his pumpkin to pop up and say, okay, it's been a fun ride, Sam, but let's get back to reality. But maybe this is the reality for the Vikings. He's leading the league in touchdown passes, quarterback rating. He's doing it all. So Vikings are playing great ball. I think it's just a situation where Jordan was probably a little rusty. Maybe you could have went one more week with Malik and see what would have happened. I don't know if they would have won, but maybe give Jordan one more week. But maybe he just pushed to get in, and they felt, okay, he's good, he's moving well, let's put him in. So yeah, this division is going to be interesting. If this carries on through the next quarter, and we're sitting here saying Minnesota's leading the division, the NFC is going to be topsy-turvy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the pregame show about what's the worst than leaving Malik in for another week just as a precaution. I mean, the game probably couldn't have started any worse than it did. So what's your real gain?
Yeah, exactly. Malik wouldn't have done any worse, and who knows? Maybe the way they would have ran that offense, it would have slowed down Minnesota, kept their offense off the field, and maybe would have been a lot closer than expected. But hey, it's the NFL. If your number one guy's ready to go, you think he is, and he wants to go, you let it rip. So give all the credit to Minnesota. They're 4-0. They're doing their thing. I don't think this is a devastating loss for Green Bay, but next week you really want to make sure, Jordan's, 100%, got some of that rust off, because if they start out slow like that again, Not a good sign.
More on and real quick again, just to touch back on Sam Darnold. We'll have some fun with the Jets to wrap up the show in this one, but I'm sure it doesn't feel like any less than salt in the wound to see someone that they threw on the scrap heap look like the MVP in the early going this year.
I think it was just a situation where Sam found his niche. I think being in San Francisco last year was key. As he's basically in the same offense. He knows the reads and pretty much probably the terminology and such that's used, and he's found his niche. Unfortunately, when you're a rookie and you go to the Jets, you go there to die. Let's just be realistic. But you got to be Sam has taken the journey of quite a few quarterbacks have this last couple years kind of kick to the scrap heap, kind of got to figure yourself out, eat some humble pie and dig yourself out, and now he's got success. He's looking sharp. You can't doubt it. I don't want to say his pumpkin's going to pop up, but I think he might be the real deal.
Yeah, we questioned whether Justin Jefferson was going to regret re-upping long term with basically a career backup and a Jets afterthought as his QB under center until JJ was ready. But right now, it looks like JJ's going to be singing Sam's praises. He doesn't look like he's missing a step.
No, and that's great for Minnesota because you don't have to rush McCarthy to come back. And even if it's a situation where if Minnesota has a great season this year, then you know what? JJ can probably sit another year, just learn a little bit more, and then he'll be seasoned and ready to go instead of being like a lot of these young quarterbacks thrown to the fire from wherever they come from college-wise, if they didn't get enough playing time or a little flash in the pan 1 year of greatness and they're drafted higher than they should be, they get thrown into the NFL fire and then they're just not ready and they just can't figure it out. So this could be a blessing in disguise for JJ.
Yeah, we do have a lot of topics to get to, so we're gonna keep it moving with the Sunday nighter, and we thought this was gonna be a matchup, pardon the cliche, for the stars with two of the most explosive young quarterbacks in the league, and one surprisingly so being really hot this year, in that retooled Buffalo fire sale kind of team that's been a bit of a surprise, and then Lamar Jackson coming off the MVP year, supposed to be Super Bowl favorite. They got to, I don't know, it's not a slow start, but definitely at least an inconsistent start, if not a slow start.
It was a rough start. We got to be honest. It was a rough start. But let's be honest. Derrick Henry awakens.
Yes.
And we talked about this. We said that if Derrick Henry could be the Derrick Henry of old, it would open up that offense. And Buffalo was scared to tackle him. That's what this game came down to.
And not only did we say that, we even preferenced that by like he shouldn't have to be the Derrick Henry of old. But as it's turned out in the last couple of weeks, if they just feed him and make him be the Derrick Henry of old, that's apparently what they most need.
That's what it was. The first play of the game, 87 yards, rips it. As the game wore on, Derrick Henry imposed his will, and I don't think the Buffalo defense could handle it. That's what I think it came down to. They were like, you know what, we can't stop him. You know what, we'll just chalk this up to a loss and go on to next week. So, and I think this game you really saw Buffalo's deficiencies on the outside. They really don't have a real receiver out there that Josh can really throw to. Keon is developing rookie, but Cook is a quality running back, not a star running back quality. I think this game really kind of showed the deficiencies in the offense for Buffalo.
Early on, which I mean, Josh eventually went back to going to him, so it's kind of like, okay, kid, get that out of your head. But that still wasn't a very good moment to have for the confidence, not only in his career early, but the game as a whole.
At the end of the day, Buffalo just has to chalk it up to a loss, and Ravens fans should feel pretty good. This is probably their most complete game of the year, and hopefully for them, it's the start where we thought they were going to be right out the gate. So we could take a couple of lumps, but if Derrick Henry can keep this and stay healthy, that being the key, they're going to be dangerous.
Now, you've lamented the Ravens defense in the early going this year, and even with the head start that Buffalo gave them this, what was it, 24-0 at 24-0 or 24-3 at halftime, whatever it was. 24-7. I don't remember. It was a lot. And even watching that, were you thinking in the back of your mind, like, I'm not confident that Buffalo's out of this?
Oh, I was waiting for it. I'm like, all right, here we go. I go, there's going to be the one play where Josh catches fire, and then next thing you know, it ends up being like a 35 to like 33 Buffalo come from behind victory. Like, I was waiting for it. But yeah, I'll give their defense credit. The Ravens held strong, held them to 10 points. Like, that's all you can ask for. So hopefully for them, it's the start of their defense kind of, starting to click a little. But yeah, I was worried. No doubt about it.
Are you more confident that based on the last couple games, Baltimore's getting back into the Baltimore you expect them to be? Or are you still kind of pump the brakes a little bit and tread lightly?
I'm still pumped the brakes. I need to see another game of, a well-balanced offense, and need to see the defense hold a lead. That's the key. I think their offense will come around. Mark Andrews dropped the ball. He hasn't been really in the offense lately. So I think they really need to get him going. Zay Flowers was a little not involved as much, but when you got Derrick Henry plowing through people, you got nothing to worry about. So, but yeah, I think their defense really, I'm still worried about them a bit. They need to be able to hold a lead going into the third and fourth quarter, but this game was a good jump point.
I know that a lot of fantasy owners, myself included, in one league, are not very excited to see Justice Hill being the default tight end scenario with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, especially off of Likely's week one. Neither one of them seemed to get Lamar's good graces on any kind of targets, and Justice Hill's out here getting effectively the tight end targets.
Like literally, like everyone drank the Isaiah Likely Kool-Aid after week one. We thought this was it, passing of the torch from Mark Andrews, and now it's like you don't know who's getting the ball out of that position in Baltimore. So yeah, just if you can grab 2 out of the 3, grab them and hope for luck, man, because that's all you got. When the bye week comes around, you better sit there and say, okay, well, who's it gonna be?
Yeah. One of our most favorite topics to discuss this season. It took us a little while last year to get into a groove on Kansas City, but this year we're definitely in a groove on Kansas City.
Man, it was week one. We were already in it. We just knew what it was going to be. Oh, Lord. Here we go again. Yet again. And luck. Okay, I don't think there were any real calls that were, I don't think the refs affected this. Just, I don't get it. It just seems like teams, when they see Kansas City, just shudder. And the Chargers, I think, lead that charge. Like, there were plays where balls were dropped. The Chargers should have had this game. Really should have had it. But Kansas City ekes another one out. But they lose Rice. So at this point, I don't know who's playing wide receiver. Andy Reid better get out there and start running some laps because he may be called upon.
Call the play, drop the clipboard, run downfield. Declare eligible receiver.
No, he's just going to wear the wristband. He's got it.
So that's obviously, even probably more so than the win in this one, that's the biggest storyline because Rice is down, Hollywood Brown's already down, Pacheco's out for a few weeks from a week or two ago. So like you said, and Worthy came up again. I mean, Patrick hit him on a deep ball. He didn't do too much after that, but at least he got back on the field again. He got another target. So, I mean, like last year, we looked at the Chiefs as far as who is Patrick throwing to, like who can he trust. Now we're looking at the Chiefs, who is Patrick throwing to, because we don't know who's actually left out there. This is back to the old Patrick Kelsey days.
And that was fun. And in this game, they fed him. They fed Kelsey, and yeah, he showed up. In my opinion, though, he did look a little slower than let's say last year or like 2 years ago. Like, he doesn't seem to have the spring. Maybe he's just a little off a bit, and that'll develop. But let's be honest, Worthy is literally just run him straight down the field. That literally is what it is. He's a new and improved John Ross. He's not a volume guy. He's going to be the big play guy, and you're not throwing to him 8 or 9 times a game. It's not going to happen. Is Juju going to do anything? You brought back Juju, and he didn't do anything. So basically, it's Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt. You're gonna. I guess there's gonna be a lot of Kareem Hunt passes out of the backfield, a lot of real funky stuff, maybe some Noah Gray, other tight end stuff. So I don't know, but here's the thing: if their scoring's going to be down, that defense is going to have to they're going to rely on that defense more than they did last year.
Yeah, and that's minus Ladarius Sneed.
Yeah, exactly. So if they were to meet the Ravens again this time, I don't know. I don't know if they can stop them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Chiefs offense, what it morphs into going forward.
To your point on how they use Kelce, you're right. They were using him more like a possession receiver. Like I think he's kind of like smaller, medium routes, and the options down the field they were giving Noah Fant. So it's almost like, okay, yeah, they're getting Kelce back involved, but he's like not. They're just like not using him as the Kelce of old. So is it like they kind of know Kelce's slowing down, or is it just like almost a conscious decoy?
I think it's a conscious effort to get him the ball because I still feel he can probably break some tackles. Like I'm not saying he's like 80 years old and can't move, but he's definitely not the Kelce of 2 years ago. And teams have kind of figured out in a way how to kind of contain him a bit. He'll still break on some teams. He'll still break out on a couple catches. There's no doubt. But at that point, the way you play Kansas City, you kind of have to sit there and say, okay, if Worthy's on the field, you make sure, your guys in the back understand, keep an eye on him. I think you can kind of put keep 2 guys on Travis, keep him contained and force Mahomes to say, okay, Kareem Hunt's going to be your guy, him and Juju, make it happen.
And we have to note that Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, like they're getting worse than Collinsworth at this point. What did Jim Nantz say at the end? The magic is back, or find someone different to troll this week?
It's a different guy every week. Last week it was Collinsworth, magical. Like, okay, I get it. All right. The guy's talented. I totally get it. But geez Louise, the guy throws for like 230 and a touchdown, and he's magical. Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton's throwing for 303 tutties in a game, and you're not calling him magical. Like, I get it. We get the Mahomes mystique and all, but I will tell you this. If he's as great as they're all every week somebody's saying, then they better win the Super Bowl. With what he's got, I don't want to hear any excuses. He better be if he's the greatest that's ever been, then they should win with this squad. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. If they lose in like the conference championship, I don't want to hear excuses. Like it's Patrick Mahomes. He's supposed to be able to do this, so I don't want to hear it. But yeah, every week it's somebody new. He's magical. He's this. He's that. Whatever. I don't care.
Well, we'll move on to something I know you do care about.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't say that I'm really surprised what happened down in Tampa because the Eagles went in without both top targets. And
oh no, I can. When you go 255 yards to none, like no, no, that surprised the heck out of me. I don't mean to cut you off, but that was ridiculous. But go, you have Saquon, the savior, but no, go ahead. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
No, that's good because I definitely misremembered that one. The big old donut they threw up in the first quarter, looking like the Panthers of 3 weeks ago.
Now, mind you, I felt good. I'm like, okay, there's no Brown, no Smith, like Lance. Lance is off the line. He isn't there, so they're beat up, but they still had some talent on that team. So I'm like, this is either going to be one of the greatest games in Buccaneers history, or the Bucs are going to find a way they're going to have the Broncos 2.0. It's just going to be a mess. And Baker Mayfield comes out there and says, all right, I'm going to have the first quarter of a lifetime, and is just zipping it. And I'm just like, what is going on here? I go, where was this last week?
Well, and you called that because we said like what's gonna be like the part of the Phillies defense that they're gonna have more success about run versus pass, and you said it was gonna be the pass, and sure enough you were right because Baker comes out, boom down the field, Mike Evans, boom down the field, Trey Palmer, then down the field again, Baker just finishes off with a run, so it was definitely like you said the first quarter of his life, it was the Baker show.
But you know what? The Bucs used the heat to their advantage. They used that heat to their advantage. There was cramping, people were puking. It was like the Eagles looked rough. But the Eagles have bigger problems. Like you could tell, like this team is discombobulated. I don't think anybody wants Sirianni there. Jalen Hurts looks like he just goes to work and he's like, all right, I punched the clock. I don't care. He doesn't look happy to be there. Like this team is in some trouble.
Well, was this then the rubber stamp then on because we've been kind of toying with that the last few weeks and like if I've pushed you on it and you're kind of like no not yet was this kind of like the nail in the coffin of time to seriously start about moving this franchise on?
Well, see, the problem is that they're on a bye week, and that's why I hate the early bye week because I think something like this you need another game to kind of, and usually you'll get a team where you should be able to bounce back or at least show some progress. So now for like 2 weeks they have to sit on this game. They have to sit on all this noise about Sirianni and Hurts not getting along. And this team just not being good. For the talent that they have, they're just not good. It's almost like they have talent, but it just doesn't gel. CJ Gardner there, Mr. I'm looking on TikTok and he's talking about we're putting belts to asses today and all the video, and he's getting burned everywhere on the field. And it's like, really, man, like don't open your mouth. Like you guys got enough problems.
That's like what was his name back in the day? Josh Norman. That was like Josh Norman.
Good old Josh Norman. Always had something to say, but then would always get burnt for like 80 yards, like all the time. But no, the Eagles, they're honestly, I think for Sirianni to keep his job, they've got to at least make the conference championship. I really do. Like they have to have a turnaround. I think ownership is watching this and saying, okay, well, what's going to happen? Because when push comes to shove, Sirianni has no pull. It's going to be what Jalen. What do you want, Jalen? And Jalen's going to say, I want him out, and there you go. And he doesn't call plays. He's just like blah. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does as a coach. I really don't.
Better or worse than Brandon Staley?
Because most guys are either like an offensive guy, a real offensive guy, or like a defensive whiz. I guess he's kind of an offensive guy, but there's just like nothing there. And it's like every week, every press conference, it's this over-exaggerated, yeah, it's my fault, and he gets all like emotional. It's like, dude, just shut up, man. Figure it out and get it done. So he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, he came from the Colts, and he was on the offensive side of the ball, but he wasn't the OC. He was like it maybe was for like the last season or like half the last.
Is he like a special assistant? Like
job. Yeah.
They have like these stupid titles: special offensive assistant of the North Latitude, blah blah blah. Like I want that job because all I'll do is play Madden and draw up plays. Like really. But they're in a rough shape, man. The Eagles are in bad shape.
Yeah, to your point, title game or bust. Right now, I don't think they're gonna do that. I mean, this is gonna be Black Monday for him, even if they make the wild card or not.
I don't even know the way that the NFC is shaping up. The only winner out of that playoff may be just the division winner, and right now it's Washington.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. We'll get to that more in a minute. Last point on Tampa. Are you happy of the well-rounded nature of this? I mean, obviously it was mostly pass. Baker lit it up, but you weren't expecting. I don't know if you were expecting the run game to necessarily do what they did. Rachaad White had 80, close to 90 all-purpose yards. Bucky Irving scored a touchdown. So even the running game performed in this one against a Philly defensive front that's actually the lone bright spot on the team besides Barkley.
The run game was definitely a lot better. End of the day, Rachaad White is he's a receiving back. I think that's where his strength is. Bucky Irving is ridiculous. I love that kid. That kid can just move. That kid moves in ways I don't even know if I could even attempt to. I might throw out a hip. But the run game was really good. It's starting to get there. The O line held up a lot better than I thought it was going to. So I think as a whole, this was definitely a 180 from the Denver fiasco. So I think it's something to build on. But yeah, the run game was huge, and those guys are really. Hopefully, this is the start of something to really move up. But I also want to give a special shout out to Sterling Shepard, my man. 3 receptions for like 50 yards. My man said, forget the Giants. I need to play somewhere. Him and Baker, man. I was like, Sterling Shepard, man. Unbelievable.
Another reclaimed piece from the island of misfit toys.
You know what? If you just catch a couple balls, I'm good with it. It helps me out. But overall, it was a good game. We got the Falcons on Thursday, but you just take this and enjoy it and just try to build.
Oh, I know you're looking forward to that one.
Most overpaid quarterback in the world. Can't score touchdowns. It's our freaking Falcons.
Next up, I think the first time this season, I get to join you I got to join you on the Victory Monday circle.
Yes, welcome to the circle, my friend. Welcome.
As the Colts move to 2-2, which feels nice because the Jags are abysmal, and the Titans, despite even a win, even with a win on Monday, don't look very good either. And now they can't keep a quarterback healthy. So 2-2 Indy actually looks not too shabby, especially with Houston not looking like the Super Bowl Houston we probably thought they were going to be. This one felt good, taking down Pittsburgh, putting the first digit in their loss column. Especially with Justin Fields lighting it up, which I kind of thought he would. It was kind of just like he built up his day statistically by attrition, because he really wasn't lighting us up necessarily until we kind of got out to a big lead. It was a little more prevent, I guess, but I kind of liked the way we did play against them. They had no running game. I know Jalen Warren wasn't there, but we really just shut down the running game, which I liked. And the big storyline out of this one is my man AR is actually made of glass.
Okay, so please tell me what your head coach is thinking. He gets hurt, right? Gets hurt on a run play. You pull him out, whatever. He comes back in, and you send him on another run play. Yeah. Like really? And then he's got to leave the game. And luckily, you've got old man Flacco who's out there, and he's like off the playground, and he's ready, and he wins you the game. But yeah, I would be concerned with this AR thing, man, because if he can't be healthy, man, you guys are going to be in the market for another guy really quick. This isn't good.
I think we will, and especially when we do keep him in the pocket, where he's obviously significantly safer. He still does not look that great. He's still leading the league in interceptions this year. His accuracy is not great. I mean, once in a blue moon, he'll hit a dime, but he's still a project. So it's like, and anytime you call him out of the pocket, he gets hurt. So it's just leave him in the pocket. This is the same thing that happened last year. He got hurt because 4 out of every 5 plays he was running and he was taking too many hits. So you're right. I mean, if I could be in Shane Steichen's ear right now, I'd be like, stop running this kid. You're going to kill him.
It's just a situation where this year in theory would be his first year because he was out last year.
Right.
But he can't stay on the field this year. Taylor's got a high ankle sprain going on. They're saying it's not that. Yeah. So now it's a situation of what's it going to be? Does everything rest on the arm of Flacco? You can't live with that. So you've got to figure out something to do with the run game. So it's going to be tough, Yeah, like they've got to design that offense where that kid is protected and he's got to learn to duck. Don't try to do too much. I understand, that was the hype about him coming out of college, but right now you can't take the hits, kid. So just throw the ball away, slide, live for another down. But right now, it could be Flacco time.
And I saw a similar thing with the play calling with Flacco as what happened last year with Uncle Rico, where the backup AR's hurt, the backup comes in, and all of a sudden the play calling changes. Now, granted, Uncle Rico and Joe Flacco are not exactly Michael Vick out here, but like all of a sudden he's back to like calling it diversified passing offense. It's like just do that with AR.
But here's the thing. Flacco's done it long enough to know where to throw it, how to read it, and such like that. AR, it's different. He's like it's literally his first year, and everything is probably faster than he can process. Let's be honest. I think right now he's a 1, maybe 2 read. If it's not there, then I'm running kind of guy. As opposed to Caleb Williams, who's a 1 read and then I'm out. Peace out, man. Because that's what I did in college, and I could run around and just sling it around. And he's realizes, he's going for the car record for sacks and such. But right now, that's why I think you got to go 2 tight end. You got to give him some really big targets. And if this offense has to be slow and methodical, if AR is going to be healthy and be your guy, and you're not going to try to win shootouts, then that's what you got to do, because this kid is just not going to survive a season.
No, and honestly, like I was very, very critical on Uncle Rico last year, but Joe Flacco, I have zero confidence. At least Uncle Rico, I would have a moderate level of confidence, even though it was very low. At least it was something moderate. Joe Flacco, I'm watching that game. I mean, he comes back in, he looks great because he throws a touchdown, but AR led that drive down the field. He just finished it off. Throughout the rest of that game, like there are a couple spots where he unleashed one. It's like, okay, maybe he's got some juice left in the arm. But for the most part, like big picture over the game, that man's arm is dead.
Yeah, like I don't think you're looking for him to put up 350 and like 4 touchdowns. I think, if he's giving you 240, 250, 2 touchdowns, and you guys are controlling the clock and such like that, and Taylor's healthy, then I think that's what your offense needs to be.
Yeah, and of course, to your point, he's got a high ankle sprain too, which is never anything easy for a running back to deal with. So we've got a hurt running back with no running back depth, and an old quarterback with zero juice in his arm.
But it's Victory Monday, so you enjoy it.
Yes, we do.
You enjoy it, and you just wait till the next. You just wait for the week and see how it plays out.
A win is a win, and the way we've played through 4 games, 2-2 feels like 4-0, quite frankly.
Dude, the way things are going in the league, yeah, it is. Let's be real. The way things are going, 2-2 is close to 4-0.
Well, another reason why that 2-2 feels pretty good is because bringing all smiles to my cheeks is the Jacksonville Jaguars at 0-4. Next week they host us, and the Jags right now, they might be the Jags team that makes us end our house of horrors down in Jacksonville. So
this could be it.
Is it time for Doug Pederson to get the whoop?
I think so. I don't know what this team is. There's talent all over the place, and they can't put it together. I think it's time. I think everybody knows it's time, but I think they're going to probably, I don't know if they're going to really, they may wait a couple weeks, but at that point, who's really out there? Like I think you just have to play the season. There's not like there's somebody out there waiting in the wings unless you bring the hooded one in. And let's be honest, he's going to be the hottest name out there, unless you're grabbing a college guy. And I'm not a fan of just grabbing young college guys because they're the hot new toy, and then they just fall apart and it just doesn't work out. What I think that team needs is a different voice, but they need somebody who's a winner. They need someone who's like they walk in and they're like, wow. They need to be in awe. I think with Pederson, that's like my Uncle Doug. Yeah, he's a cool guy. He brings candy to the house. We hang out. Yeah, okay. Like there's no okay, man, that's the boss, man. We got to get it right.
Especially to your point, they've got so much talent, like ready to go talent on that team. They do need the coach that is the final piece. Normally we talk about a player being the final piece. Oh, they're only a quarterback away. Oh, they only need like a shutdown corner or something like that. This team kind of has enough of that, if not all of that. They just need the coach to direct and puppeteer.
Exactly. Like they have the talent of a playoff team. They just need somebody to fix this ship, because right now there is no leadership. It's just a mess. Like I said before, Pederson was great to bring in after the Urban Meyer fiasco, But now they need a different voice. It's time to take it to that next level, and he's not that guy. So if they lose next week, which I think they will, I don't trust them for anything. I would honestly believe there's something's going to be done. They'll have, an intern guy run the rest of the season, and then they'll just get prepared for whatever. I don't know.
They're better off to do an interim because if let's say their eyes are set on Belichick, he cares way too much about his legacy to take over a team in midseason.
Yeah, he's not. He's sitting there having a blast, doing commercials, cashing in. He's going to sit there because he's going to want his pick of the teams. And let's be honest, Dallas might be on there. Philly may be on there. And who knows? Yeah. And who knows? Maybe he goes back to New York. If New York doesn't pan out, which I don't think they are either, I think
either of them.
Yeah. But I think he'll go back to the Jets and be like, okay, I'm going to fulfill my contract that I walked out on years ago. But he's going to have his pick of the litter, so he's in no rush to go anywhere. So I don't know, man, but that Jags team is a hot mess, and you guys just don't hurt them too bad.
No, I want to hurt him. Anyway, no, you're right. He does have his pick of the litter because there's so many teams underperforming right now. We could even throw Cincinnati in the mix with that one. However, I do want to just touch on Texans briefly because here we go. Now, the Jags. Fortunately, they're playing the Jags, who might be the only team worse than Baltimore closing out a game this year. But the Texans probably should have lost this game. They fell down early. They fell down in the fourth quarter. They probably should have lost this one. They just got lucky in the fact that they were playing the Jaguars. So there's something wrong with Houston here, right? something not right. Maybe it's not to the level of some of these other teams we've trashed on, but there's definitely something not right with Houston.
I think it's the growing pains. There's growing pains there. Don't forget, CJ exploded last year. Like, of course, he was, number 2 pick. And if you redid that draft, there's no doubt he's going number 1. There's no doubt the Panthers are going to give you the moon and the stars and extra to get him. And I think it's just the fact that maybe, and that team was young. The Texans are a young team. So I don't know if it's a situation where they're kind of like, oh, yeah, is this, we should be able to do this no problem because last year was, incredible for them. Or it's just the growing pains, it's the NFL. So I think as they get a couple more games under them, they're gonna get better. I think this win was good for them in the sense that even though it was the Jags, you pulled it out. So you have that ability to you can pull victory from the jaws of defeat, regardless of who you're playing. So I think they're gonna probably just work on some things and. Once Mixon gets back, I think it helps that offense a little more. I think they miss him a bit. But, they won. You got to give them that. And I think they understand that if they're going to really be in it at the end, they've got to clean some things up. So it's going to take time, but I think they'll be okay.
Theory, they could just be the new Cincinnati. Just take some 6 games to do anything every year.
See, there you go. Just take some time, You want to prep yourself. Work up the ladder.
You'll never get a number 1 seed, but hey, if you do it in the playoffs, nobody cares.
That's it, man. As long as you're in the playoffs, anything goes.
Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily know if this is a situation where I'm going to eat some crow because I didn't criticize the player. I just criticized his actions in week 1 for celebrating a touchdown in a losing effort. However, Jayden Daniels has looked like the goods. He's looking like what CJ Stroud did last year, 5, 6, 7 weeks earlier than CJ Stroud did. And he's leading the league in completion percentage, something like 82%, something absurd. The players love his teammates love him, and from what I've been hearing through the media, and Dan Quinn is a head coach that everyone likes, and Cliff Kingsbury back from the dead. So he's obviously he likes having a new toy to play in the sandbox with. So the first place Washington. What do you think about this?
Gotta give them their flowers. The kid is good. The kid is legit. I watched that game, and that kid is good. course, he threw a pick here and there, but you know what? It's growing pains. The kid is talented. The kid knows he's looking to throw first. He's not taking one read and then running. He's looking to make throws. Yeah. Chicago. And it's incredible. I'm impressed. Now, the only downfall with Washington is that defense is shaky. That's a shaky defense. It's not exactly top-notch defense. So there's some things they've got to shore up on that defensive end. But you're 3-1. No one thought you were going to be 3-1. They may have given you 1. They may have given you 1-3 at best. So right now you control that division because the rest of those teams don't know what the hell they're doing. So right now, if they literally can go 2-2, 3-1 each quarter, they very well could win that division.
Yeah, and forecast that out. Let's expand upon that. Like, how much of that can be, like you said, in Washington's court versus Philly and Dallas just beating themselves half the time, or 3/4 of the time for Philly in Philly's case. So like forecast this out. If they can go 2-2, 3-1 every quarter, what are their chances that they're going to be standing on top of the heap at the end?
I think it's close. I really do. We're not even the Giants are the Giants. It is what it is. The Eagles, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix this mess. I just don't think. I think there's issues there, and until you clean that house, they're just going to be there. They have talent, so they can win on that. They can win so much on that alone. Cowboys, it's Dak, CD, and a bunch of parts on the offense. Let's be real, on a bunch of parts. You can't trust that offense. Their defense is nicked up now. Parsons is hurt. Dexter Lawrence is hurt. So now it's that's where that's why your secondary was so good, is because your line was getting that push, causing that quarterback timing to be off. Now quarterbacks might be able to sit back there a little more. That secondary is going to get shredded. So Washington, if they play their cards right, could be looking at least second place in that division easy.
Cheers, Paul from PA Brew News. Thanks for hopping on real quick.
Hello?
Yeah, and Micah Parsons, I mean, that's someone that was banged up in a game recently. So even he's one now, or it was in the Thursday game, right? It was against the Giants. So
yeah.
Even that's not necessarily a guarantee having him, let alone having him and playing effectively.
Yeah, I believe it's a high ankle sprain for him as well.
Of course.
So I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but him and Lawrence are nicked up bad. And I know they said that Parsons isn't going to be back till at least after the week 7 bye. So he's not going to be around. So, and depending how bad Lawrence is, now you've got to throw whatever you've got on the bench over there. And honestly, Dallas doesn't put the fear in me. If I'm seeing them, I'm like, I can beat them.
Yeah.
Let's be real. So now the scariest team in the NFC East very well is Washington.
Yeah. High ankle sprain, top 2 injury for someone who has to move laterally to be successful on the field.
Just tape it up. He'll be fine.
But yeah, let's one more time. Let's clap up for Jayden Daniels, because does anyone really want to see Dallas or Philadelphia get all the hype behind them and just to fall on their faces at the end? Let's at least get some fresh blood and enjoy the Jayden Daniels run while it's the talk of the town.
I'm telling you, man, if Washington somehow pulls this out, that it's going to be mass hysteria in Dallas and Philly. Mass hysteria.
All for it.
You're telling me, man. I'm all for it.
I saved this topic for the end. Potentially the best for last, because the Jets always hold an ire in each of our hearts. And I had them in the survivor pool so I took my second strike. So I did need them to play. I was rooting for them this time around because I figure it's Denver. I mean, they beat Tampa, but that was kind of an anomaly type of game. Peyton maybe pulling some of his tricks out from the Saints days, being familiar with the Bucs. But Denver, I mean, they've played above their heads so far. Bo Nix, let's clap it up for him too. First
Bo
NFL
Nix.
touchdown.
Bo Nix. I gave that kid flowers weeks ago. Bo Nix. Told you. He only threw for 60 yards this game, but they were a quality 60 yards.
Well, I think that's the crux to our point here is the fact that he did only throw for 60 yards. He had negative yards in the first half. This is an embarrassment for the Jets. I know it was raining. Deal with it. Breece Hall was non-existent in this one, and he's been very, very good in the early going this year. If it's raining, you use the running back. Aaron Rodgers looked like a waste of space. I just I don't understand how the Jets can look at this game and this season as a whole. I mean, your only impressive win is being the Patriots. Whoop-de-doo. So this is a disaster. If you're a Jets fan, if you're New York media, it has to be. I can't. There's no way to justify this.
You mean you didn't like the fact that you're the home team and you get 5 or 6, false starts? Because, you practice hard counts and, preseason and stuff like that. And yet you're hard counting at home and your offensive line, offsides. Breece Hall, you're right. Should be running the ball like crazy. Aaron Rodgers, 40 years old, looking like he's 94. There you go. That's what the Jets wanted, and that's what you got. This team, I don't get it. I think Salas is gone too at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If they think Rodgers is going to stay another year, Salas is going to be gone. I don't know who you're going to bring in for that because that team literally will be win now because that's it. Because people were like, oh, Aaron could play for, another 3-4 years. Not like that. No. He's falling off the cliff. I don't care what you say. These little bits of magic that he sprinkles amongst the crap he lays is not worth it. I'm sorry to tell you. So for you Jets fans who think you've got Aaron Rodgers the Great, I'm sorry to tell you, it's Aaron Rodgers the bagger from your local Stop and Shop. He's not the guy. He's not the guy that you thought he was in Green Bay. That Aaron is gone. This guy can be a quality game manager for you. He's got talent around him, led by the great Alan Lazar. Yeah, I said it, Alan Lazar. So you guys got to figure it out. Their defense plays great, but Denver beat you. Figure it out.
To that point, they got one of the best young receivers in the league in Garrett Wilson. They don't even call his numbers.
No, and everyone in the preseason was like, oh, man, look at the catches they've got in training camp, blah, blah, blah. This is a match made in heaven. There were all those TikToks with all those videos. And, yeah, you don't see none of that. That should have been Aaron Donald and Jay Jettas because that's what that's looking like as opposed to what you got here in Jets land. No, it is. It's sad. And I don't care what you say. Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh can't stand each other. I don't care how they try to spin it. They don't like each other. I think how this ship is starting to sink. And if this ship is in bad shape by week 9 or 10, Saleh is on his way out. They're going to ask Aaron who he wants to coach. They'll bring in somebody, and then it's going to be whatever it is, whatever Aaron wants. So,
and even that, I don't even know if that necessarily sets them up for good. I mean, we're seeing him this year. You think he's going to be any better in a year from now, even with a new coach?
No.
You're squeezing blood from a stone here with Aaron Rodgers. You're squeezing blood from a stone.
You got 2 scenarios here. They get rid of Saleh. Hackett takes over, and Hackett gets, redemption kind of deal. Hackett becomes coach. Or Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy have a kumbaya moment because we know Dallas is going to can McCarthy, and McCarthy comes to the Jets and sprinkles his 12-5 magic on the Jets, and then they lose in the first round of the playoffs. There you go. Ta-da! Ta-da! There you go. So Jets fans, you want playoffs? Get yourself some Mike McCarthy.
That's funny, especially after we just made jokes about Bill Belichick coming back to make good on walking out of his contract after less than a week. And here we are. Here's your 2 scenarios, Nathaniel Hackett and Mike McCarthy.
And then who takes the Dallas job? The hooded one. It's 6 degrees of Bill Belichick, man. He's all over the league, and he's even working. I'm telling you. That man has got it. He's got the end. But the Jets are a mess, and no one is scared of them. Their defense, like I said, their defense is their saving grace. But there's going to be a point where that defense is like, you know what? Screw this. We're tired of it. We're holding teams to, 17, 18 points. We're doing what we're supposed to do, and this offense can't do squat. There's going to be a point, and it's going to grow, and people are going to get upset, and people are getting fired, and it's just going to be a good old time, and I can't wait to see it happen.
And the defense that we were criticizing for the first couple of weeks, they're starting to get into their groove back, and now the offense is just poop.
Yeah. So the defense is like, okay, we've got to stop them. We got to hold them about 17, but maybe we've got to score about maybe 1 or 2 pick sixes a game, and we've got a shot.
Yeah. Hell of a cap to the show, Bucks McGee. And I know we kind of switched up the top, but we still always give you the final word. So take us off air with this yet another topsy-turvy week in the NFL.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. We both are visiting Victory Monday, enjoying that. For you Eagles fans, fly Eagles, fly. Yep, how's that working? But shout outs to Sam Darnold. The man's a machine. Got to give him credit. Got to give respect to Minnesota. Kansas City, you guys are on a lifeline. I don't care what you say. You could be 4-0. You very well could be 2-2. Derrick Henry has arrived in Baltimore. Thank God. Week 5, who knows what it's going to be? I'm excited. Jags, you're not going to win, so go Colts.